So here we are. This is Scared of Birds. I'm here with Alex. Hi, Alex.
Yep. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, and we're here for the Raso Lark Riot final. So this is a tournament that we've been running on the Wingspan Discord server. And it started with a group stage with a little bit of a twist. It was group winners got through to the bracket, and which was stage 2, and then also some high scores. So this tournament has had a focus on high scores instead of the usual kind of points difference or other kinds of things to look at. So we have 2 players here. We have SZX and we have Submit. And they were both group winners in the first round, and they've both gotten to the end of the knockout bracket in our second stage. SZX is a 2-time tournament winner, and should he win today, this will be Submit's first tournament win, solo tournament win anyway, on these servers. So I think it'll be a fun series. We're doing best of 3 here. And they flipped, and Submit is going to go first. So Submit, if you want to go ahead and invite, we can get rolling.
Yeah, pretty exciting format. I think that's very cool that there is some difference in tie breaks, or basically the conditions to advance. You always like to see the high scoring boards, especially like in the finals. And let's see what we gonna work with here today. And we saw the starting hand for Submit already. So any thoughts, Scared?
Well, I'm a sucker for that black naughty, but it's quite expensive. The barn swallow, yeah, you always love to see that. You can see that's the thing he kind of clicked on first. And what do you think about keeping something for the forest here? The grosbeak is also kind of expensive. So, the honey eater. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think that's maybe, being myself, I would go for maybe Naughty Swallow and hope to find better birds in the forest, but also because Naughty gives extra food. Is it like it's like extra fish, and you can convert to points, but not exactly the food you want to keep.
Especially
forest birds.
Yeah, to get a forest going. So site selection, that's a difficult bonus, but with the star nest and the barn swallow, you kind of get a jump on that a little bit.
Sure. Also, like tree creeper, like consideration is really interesting. I think those type of birds, like tree creeper, goldcrest, in the forest, they can work pretty well, but obviously the issue here will be the eggs.
Well, look at this.
Oh yeah, so this one, I think like comparatively, it's just like it's objectively better compared to what Submit had as a starter.
Right. We're gonna want wood duck, 9 times out of 10, right? 10 times out of 10.
Well, I would say 97 out of 100, and and mechanical. Wow. Let's think about like other birds. For Yorn, it was like almost a no-brainer. So he picked up both long sparrow and house sparrow. Obviously, both of the birds are really strong options with wood duck. Yeah. That's a really strong start. So we're gonna see how the game's gonna go for the players.
Yeah, and so on Submit's side, so we see the honey eater going down. Are we anticipating the barn swallow will go into the water here?
Oh, most definitely. I think it's either swallow in the wetlands, or you pick up the cormorant for some reason, or you hope for the predator roll, basically. Otherwise, I don't see it going anywhere else but wetlands.
So that New Holland honey eater is pretty inconvenient for SZX over there, because not only is it taking nectar, but it often will be taking wheat as well.
Yeah. I guess that's kind of fine, because again, with the wood duck, you kind of pile the food in your supply,
Right.
and then work with whatever you have. So you don't necessarily need to force picking up nectar
Right.
in most of the situations. But obviously you want to find, I think, the bird to support wood duck there in the forest. Maybe duck and
Yeah.
maybe an
Right. And the
bird.
Cassin sparrow with the wood duck is a pretty good egg layer for them, just so they don't have to go down to the grass as frequently. So I
Yeah.
don't really hate that. I mean, kind of saving that bonus card bird for later, kind of trying to focus on playing stuff that's going to accelerate the game at this point seems to be the way.
Yeah, also, like, again, like wood duck versus honey eater, you basically both kind of deny each other with with your decision. So like the decision for Bjorn is basically whether to keep the nectar, if possible, in the feeder or not, and otherwise, like for honey eater, like you kind of pick up the extra nectar that is there. So yeah, some good finds actually from Barn Swallow was Color Duff, and the bonus card Finch were nice cousins.
Yeah, I was a little tempted by that because of the site selection expert, even though it's not that useful, to add your first forest bird. But so I understand tucking it, like you don't always want to play just for your bonus cards. And if you're trying to really focus too hard on site selection expert, that can get very, very distracting.
Yes, true. I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily that in that position that which Zabmit is in, Cousins is necessarily a bad first option in the forest. Although I think he wants to commit more to playing that Tree Creeper at some point.
Right.
I think if you kept the birds as your starting hand choice, you have to have the plan there.
Yeah, and I see Flan is saying that he's also surprised to see the Finch get tucked, just because that's a good one to play with Tree Creeper, which I agree with. I also, if it were me, which obviously I'm not in the final, but I would probably tuck that collared dove first, just because right now we're not really at a point where, well, okay, maybe we'll have better food access.
Yes, that's a really nice find. I mean,
yeah, that's a nice find.
Yeah, obviously here I think a lot of like cavity nest birds were already in the Zabmit's hand, but now with main duck it's like there is an incentive to go heavier in wetlands and play the birds that you want to play, basically from the food that main duck can provide you going in the wetlands.
Well, yeah, and you can also lay eggs pretty strategically, so you can get a nectar when you need it with that honey eater,
Yes, that's correct. I mean, again, like most of the time, it's up to the player to decide whether you want to get that extra nectar or maybe playing the bird that requires food other than grains. I mean, now it's like, again, it's hard for me to see that Tree Creeper being played at that point.
Yeah, I agree.
Like otherwise, like we since we have the main duck, I would pretty much expect that the player will go dig in the deck and find the birds that can bring them immediate value, be it the high point scoring in the end game or like white powers for bonus cards. And that's why, like, again, I would maybe consider the Cousins Finch duck maybe a little bit hurting for the player right now.
I was wondering about that parrot crossbill. I like this. It makes sense for their game, but also it's, you always like seeing sort of these niche birds having their moment.
I think that it works somewhat well. It's a bird which costs a lot of food, so it's helpful for the next end of round. But also it's just like a big bird, and again, it helps messing with the feeder for honey eater to bring less value with the honey eater activations.
Right.
So that's fine. Obviously, again, since we have the house sparrow in the hand, those extra weeds.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, but 2 is somewhat of a dead keep just for now.
Well, it was. I mean, now if they wanted more food, you know,
yeah,
there's at least a bird to copy. Yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, I would expect the player to go for main deck almost immediately. But
right,
yeah.
I know. That's what I was thinking too. So maybe, you know, I think I don't know if you saw the World Cup final the other day, but that last game that Orthalion played kind of started with a main duck.
Yeah.
Or the main duck sort of accelerated it, but it ended up with a full board. So I don't know if that even counts as a full tuck. It was a wetland engine that turned into just a huge game, and maybe that's something that we're going to see Submit sort of look at doing.
Yeah, I wasn't able to like follow the World Cup live, but I saw the end boards and I was like, okay, full tuck game, like because the second game I believe was a full tuck, and like full tuck in the World finals. That's what we need. That's what we need. And
I know, always exciting.
Yeah, and I think again, even if you don't count the last game of the World Cup board as a full tuck board, it still involved heavy tucking and like basically squeezing the value of the wetland activation. So I think it's totally fine.
Yeah,
totally cool to go for such type of boards.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep. Here we go.
So it's both the Robin and main duck. Okay, so I don't hate that. I mean, since we have to activate wetlands a lot to have a lot of food, I think Robin play is nice because from the one activation we can basically generate all the food that we need to play extra birds, and the Oceania kind of switches the perspective of being like the board game about playing actual birds instead of just like trying to build the engine compared to the previous iterations.
Right, and I see in the chat Flan had mentioned maybe the tree creeper, flycatcher, and main duck in column 2, and that just really lovely synergy with what Submit has so far. If they think the tree creeper can be useful, because the question also is like, how much are we really going to be laying eggs? Maybe a lot. Maybe we're going to keep a nice bunch of, you know, eggs around. And we'll see.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like, it's fine that Robin worked really well for the bonus card, although I don't think that side selection is the bonus card you want to focus on a lot, because it can hurt your like end score potentially more if you want to maximize the.
And I was looking at that Downy Woodpecker too. I think the Downy Woodpecker would be a nicer column too. Oh, Rufus Owl's nice too, yeah.
Yeah, so that's okay. So I would say that maybe I would go for Downy instead of the blind draw.
Yeah.
Partially because, again, like if it actually was the plan to maximize the side selection, then we already have the candidates of Cavity Nest being played in both forest and wetlands.
Yeah.
And potential for, again, like with the main duck barn swallow in the wetlands, you just basically gonna follow those like birds for side selection with trying to find the basically either like good cavity nest or good star nest in the grasslands, which we already have one. So Ash Trotted is nice. I mean, since we have attack and draw, that's fine, and we picked up the Woodpecker, so that was pretty nice as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, we see they did tuck the Tree Creeper, so that's out of here.
Yeah, I mean, it's it would be really nice to see Tree Creeper at work. I mean, like
I know.
trying to make it work. But I think again, like in Oceania, it's hard with an X. I would rather do the Gold Crest or Moorhen type of things. Yeah.
And yeah, I'm seeing the chat saying that SZX's board is more straightforward, and so I think that's just, I agree. I kind of am feeling a little self-conscious about talking more about submits, but I really do think it's just sort of a bigger puzzle at this point of the game.
Surely, yeah. I mean,
yeah, that fairy wren could be really nice too, actually.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, we already have like a couple of birds that are less than 30. So yellow power's value in the end game could win the game. Also on your board, we saw the Tui actually being played. So I think that's a nice one, especially following the Robin play by Submit.
And that's interesting, playing the House Sparrow with not both nectars. I'm wondering what is going to be the next play for SZX. Are they looking at playing the Ibis into the water just to get something down into the wetlands and look at that food cost end of round? Or are they going to, I mean, yeah, what does the rest of the round look like for them?
Yeah, I think basically what it says is like I have the plan to play something to the opponent, so kinda your move. Or even if we don't play the bird, I think it's a good action to activate grasslands and maybe even spend that nectar in the grasslands if you feel like it. I don't think that's necessarily what's going to happen, but yeah.
And yeah, I was wondering, are we going to see the flycatcher going down here?
Yeah, and players are kind of picking up their pace, so having their plans already for a couple of turns, and so the actions are almost immediate. So it's kind of hard to keep up. But again, we mentioned that the plans for players basically is make some bird plays. Make some activations better.
Right, and then kind of see what else shows up in the tray in the next second half of the game. And I just noticed this no goal round 3, so that's better than no goal round 4, but that's still a little like, well, only one extra turn.
Yeah, I wonder, like at this level, when you're in a final, do you go that far in your planning as to I have an extra turn in the last round and what can I do with that? I mean, it's really hard to predict what's going to happen, especially since both players basically have decent drawing capabilities at this point. And like predicting what's going to happen, like you kind of want to work with what you have, but you also want to make your plays better. So it's always the question of, do you work with what you have, or do you wait and see what's going to be there later, and is it going to be better or not?
And I think Submit made a good run at that end of round. You'd never think that, the Wood Duck player wouldn't win that. I mean, that's kind of a shoe-in. Wonderful end of round for a Forest Engine.
True, but now Submit is going to have the first turn going into round 3, and I think some decent options in
Yeah.
trade.
What do you think of the Ruff?
I think like Ravens, we don't talk about those. Ruff and Duff, both Ruff and Duff, I see working for actually both players.
Yeah.
At this point, Raven could be a potential deny, though I think it's with the capabilities of both players generating food in their forest. I don't think they're gonna prioritize Raven that much. Yeah, I think like the activation here maybe go once more from the deck and pick up Ruff, or you can kind of deny both Ruff and Duff.
Yeah.
But then Rule 16 is gonna be a potential twice. Yeah, I mean that's understandable to me. I think both the birds with the players' capabilities can bring them a lot of value. So, interesting.
Yeah.
Ruff is the deny. Well, that's also cool.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why they're holding on to this collared dove, because I don't know. We'll see. And I agree, Flynn. I think Welcome Swallow is really nice. If they're gonna play the fairy wren also.
I think I mean Welcome Swallow, I think it's, for me, it is a 50-50 type of plan. It's hard for me to make it work in my mind, basically. So it's good for the last end of round. If we want to again play more birds, then it's also nice since we have the tech value from it. For the fairy wren plan, we basically playing 2 1-point birds going into the last the second half of the game, which I don't think is necessarily a really great plan, but I guess player will decide what's going to be better for them. Yeah, Turtle Duff, I think. Okay, now I kind of see the plan. So we want to make our forest really.
Ooh.
I wouldn't say deadly, but like drawing at least 5 food per activation is nice. And if we want, we can make it 6. So now I think there is still a chance that we want to maximize our site selection, right? So we play the third bird in the grasslands is gonna be the fairy wren, and the third one would be maybe the color dove.
Yep.
Because like with this forest, right? So you're gonna have food for everything.
Yeah.
And maybe potentially more. So color dove is not just like a 5-point bird. And maybe one more activation in the wetlands, so that's okay. So Falcon is there, but we want to find the star nest in the wetlands. It's hard for me to imagine. Maybe actually Welcome Swallow in the wetlands.
Because I was wondering, yeah.
It's interesting. We also like kinda struggle with X on the mid board, so
right.
At this point, so I would assume so. Next reactivation is like play bird, lay X, play bird, and on Yarn's board, again some good finds there. So big point bird, which is like crucial when you have the wood duck engine. So you have all the food that you need. So you want to convert it to points, and basically every bird works here, but also an issue with X for now. I mean, it's not like a big one. It's just like you have to spend some action to do that. Wait, okay. So we have an acorn woodpecker in the finals on the board. That's cool.
I know.
I'm gonna write it somewhere, like achievement unlocked for woodpecker.
Yeah. I mean, the acorn woodpecker and the parrot the parrot crossbill, both of them in the same forest. Like that's
that's pretty cool.
Something, yeah.
So you spend 6 grains for that also.
Right.
So, but also you will generate value for your house sparrow again in the end game.
Ah.
So that's
okay.
nice.
The collared dove is down in column 3 instead of 4, so that's interesting.
I mean, that's totally fine.
Totally
at least
fine.
How I look at it.
I mean,
Again,
it's a sign to us that Zubmit isn't completely blind to this bonus card, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, it's hard to imagine that you would go all the way through the group stages and then the
right. And I guess in
blank.
that case, I might expect to see that common goldeneye going down in the wetlands just so they could really maximize that bird's power, you know, and get those eggs so that they don't need to lay eggs again soon, and then maybe get food again to tuck under that dove.
So now we hope for
wow. No, yeah, we see here on Yorn's side, they're really going in on the bonus cards up on Yorn's board, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's a steal basically. So Woodstork would have a lot of value if he plans to play the GoldenEye. So it basically makes our fishery manager work, and also brings us extra bonus card. But yeah, so unlucky for Zubmit, but I think he's still gonna draw cards once at least to try and find something to play in the last round. Because again, like we have 6 turns instead of 5 in the last round because of the
That's right. And that's interesting. I see Zubmit actually laid eggs, so we'll see what's going to be their last move of the round, if this GoldenEye will actually go down or not.
Yeah, I guess that's a good time to maybe roll the poll for the winner of game 1, and if it's possible, Plan help us do that.
I know, gotta play the GoldenEye, Flynn, I agree, but yeah, okay, into the wetlands.
Yeah, that's fine. Although, so we're gonna spend the nectar on the color dove.
Right.
Maybe try and fight the. Well, it's hard to fight the wood duck for nectar battle, but again, our forest is almost as good as.
Oh, that's a much nicer bonus card pull than the fishery manager over on the other board.
Yeah, that specialist, pretty cool. Surprisingly, from the starting hand differences, the boards are kind of similar.
Yeah.
At least on my to my understanding. So the only difference is that barn swallow and main duck are small point tuckers, but it's kind of like if you just convert those tucks to the actual bird value, it's kind of similar to other birds on Jörn's board. So it's really hard to kind of point out who is going to be the winner.
It really is.
At this point. Oh, interesting. Whistle duck. Imagine main duck and whistling duck.
Oh my gosh, I know. That's a dream come true.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, if I had to be in one of their positions right now, I'd want to be in Jorn's, but I also, you know, who knows what these bonus cards are going to bring. And yeah, it looks like on Jorn's board, we haven't maxed site selection just yet. Will the Woodstork bring us there? Yes. Okay, well then that's very nice.
Oh, so you're saying mechanical engineer would be maxed out when the Woodstork
Yeah. Sorry,
yes.
did I say the wrong one? Yeah, mechanical engineer it's only on 3 so far, but we'll get there.
Yeah. I mean, again, hard decision for Zubmit. I mean, maybe not the hard one, but an interesting one. So again, picking up more food, discarding the welcome swallow. I assume from this play that there is a potential that he's going to go wetlands once more.
Yeah,
And-
I mean, I think you want to be clearing the eggs off that golden eye first of all, but also finding a fish bird that you use as a platform nest would be really great for Submit.
Yeah, and I believe there are plenty of them, right? So I can think of at least a couple, like
Totally.
minus the wood stork, but yeah. Your white stork, your baldy,
Yeah.
potentially maybe even Bonelli, who knows?
Yeah,
But
totally. Benelli would be nice. Puffin, yep.
Bonelli would be hard to
Baldy
play
gold,
though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you have to play Benelli with food, that's not the end of the world.
Sure.
But Benelli doesn't eat fish. I mean...
Yeah. Okay. Somewhat of an interesting reroll. And Kakapo.
You have to... You can't leave the Kakapo. Yeah. Ooh,
okay.
There's one.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Okay, Rosella, Vitak and Joe, most likely.
Yeah.
Oh, discarding for extra. That's nice. Yeah, extra egg. Okay, Sparrow for Kakapo, possibly.
Yep.
Yep, Rosella. It's worth denying, even if you're not gonna play it.
That's the thing. I was gonna say. I mean, you can't leave it in the tray.
Yeah. And if you want, so like we have 6 food, but the grubs are not there, so we are not in a position to play all our birds. But if we want, we can kinda take food and play 3 birds from this position, which is a potentially a plan. Or you play 2 birds and you lay eggs.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, which might be the plan just because of the end of round situation. But I guess we'll see.
Wait. What's
I know,
there?
that's what I was just looking at. What's happening over there?
Maybe it was just like try on haul, right? So how does the Lewins look at these boards? And it's like
tough.
Okay,
tough
interesting.
Cards, yeah.
Blanked on bonus cards. Okay. That's I think like I would maybe go for Yorn having a little bit of a advantage here going into the game ends, but this like the bonus card blank is kind of again balancing out the chances for players to win, at least in my mind. Okay, again Lewin's play for 4 food.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I mean that must be for that wildlife gardener, right? Because I think they were at 3. I can't see the board.
Yeah, I think they're matching the lower bound for now.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Again, like all the extra weeds will go under the house sparrow. But I wonder even wasn't laying eggs is 5 points at least.
Yeah, exactly.
And Lewin's 3, but then if you match the wildlife gardener, that's fine. And since we've done that, that's also fine. Couple points more. Okay, sneak peek on the scores.
Yeah, 103 up there. I know this is really tough. The end game.
Yeah. For Zamit, are we? So there is a potential to draw cards now again, and if we don't find anything, we still can play both Rufus Night Heron and Fairy Wren because the extra wheat means that we overpay. Okay, food is also nice again.
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of counting. I think picking up food is better, but drawing was also a plan. So
Yeah,
now
and so now it's which is more points, the Rufus or the Fairy Wren.
it's like both, I think.
I know.
So Rufus would be 6 points, and Fairy Wren. Also, Rufus can make the nectar battle worth, like, so it's like more points now because we pay with nectar. Yeah, so our opponent has 3, so we have to play the nectar, and now it's like swing for extra 6 points basically.
And then lay eggs. Yeah.
Now I think again, if we play the Fairy Wren, it's again value for the nectar, but also as a yellow power activation. So why don't we play it? I mean, we can do both. Am I miscounting?
Yeah, this is their last turn, so they have to lay eggs so that they can swing the end of round.
Oh, also end of round. Okay, so
yeah,
that one I forgot. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine then. And exactly 5 food at the round end for Color Duff. GoldenEye is empty, so extra for X. So teal activations are also nice. I actually think right now that Zabmit is a favorite to win. Because of the Kakapo, because of all the teals.
Yeah. Oh, and that's nice getting that nectar too.
Yeah. So if the players are... there is a potential for true draw here. if not for that nectar, right? Because now players gonna be at 1 food.
Yeah, well, that'll be fun.
When all the teals resolve, yeah. That's cool. That Woodstork blank, man, I mean...
Yeah, that's tough. And yeah, I think
it's
going to come down to this. What is the Kakapo going to get for Submit? Because...
Oh, no, extra food. Have I miscounted here as well? Interesting, yeah. Okay, Kakapo draw. Okay, 3 points is nice.
3 points is fine, yeah.
And
you hate to see it. It's so close on both of those, you know.
Yeah,
it's like,
you always pick data analysts if you can for
just for the flex.
Okay. We couldn't see the score scrolling up slowly, but yeah, Jorn takes game 1.
Well, okay.
I thought it would be much more closer actually.
Yeah, but that was a really interesting game. I think on both sides. I think you see a wood duck and you think it's going to be pretty typical, but we got to see some interesting cards being played. So
yes, for sure.
So okay, there was game 1. So now we just have to root for Submit for game 2 and hope for game 3, because I always say you always root for game 3, right?
Yeah, we root for more Wingspan.
Yeah.
And we're gonna check up with players to see if they need a break. And we're gonna be back to you really soon, so stay tuned.
Yeah.
So very likely the break is gonna be a quick one, couple of minutes. Yeah. So that was an exciting game 1. Yeah, scared.
Absolutely. I was just gonna say on our end, there's gonna be a commentary change also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's exciting to see any sort of final. I think seeing a wood duck to me is a little bit, it's always exciting, but it's also what I want to see in the final is them really puzzling through something. And so that's what I'm hoping for the next few games is I want to learn how they're kind of approaching more difficult hands. So I'm not trying to wish them a difficult time. I'm just that's what I come to finals for. So we'll see.
Sure. Yeah, and as Scared mentioned, so we're gonna have a change of commentators. But before that, thank you, Scared, for joining me here.
Yeah, thank you. It was fun.
Yeah,
we'll do it again soon.
Yeah, and we gonna have Plan joining me for game 2. Plan, are you there? Can you hear me?
Hello. I am indeed here, and it looks like I am just in time because I think the players are ready, and we're going to get this game 2 underway. So, yeah, of course we want to see a good game. We want to hope for the game 3 coming our way. So, starting hand for SLX, and we've got a White Stork. So you keeping that? What else are you looking at in this hand, Alex?
Well, I think that again, like this starting hand is almost a killer. So we have both Bushtit and White Stork, which I consider one of the best birds in the game. We have Mechanical Engineer as a bonus card
again,
option, which is also nice.
Maxed it out last game without really too many issues, and yeah, it feels like such a nice one to start with. And as you say, maybe with the Bushtit with the Star Nest could be helpful as well. But I mean, we've got Black-chinned Hummingbird, so do you look at that? Do you maybe, I was going to say, this Warbler as well? Potentially, you know, you're always looking for a way to pick up birds from the tray with a White Stork, and something like that in the forest can definitely help.
Yes, for sure. I mean, again, all the birds that you mentioned, even Swainsons can work at some time, but again, like it kind of loses to all the good options here. The Warbler, again, tuck and draw in the forest, really nice. You can even like keep the extra bird just for the sake of this bird being tucked under the Warbler for the extra like early activation of the power. White Stork Bushtit Hummingbird could be a habitat of itself. We basically generate all the resources. Although we cannot play the Stork in the forest, which would be really interesting.
I mean, that would be a little bit unfair, I think, if you could do Forest Stork, but definitely a nice start. And I think, maybe going greedy with the extra cards to maybe do some cycling in the forest. But we've got another quite nice starting hand here for Submit. We've got the Wagtail, so always want to see those teal powers and some good brown powers going with it. Maybe the Nightingale for a bit of food, but you're not really going to want to give food away once that Stork goes down and you see that. That is a bit of a heartbreaker, but definitely a decent start. I mean, it looks like they're going for this Vaux's Swift. I mean, is that something you kind of would normally look at, or do you think this is just to get something in the forest, obviously having to activate all the habitats to use this Wagtail?
Yeah, I think there is a possibility of the player thinking exactly as you described. Though with like Wagtail and Nightingale, I would think maybe we would want to try and find something better to play in the forest. And again, like our friend Cousin's Finch is there in the tray. It was drawn the game 1, but unfortunately for him, he was immediately tucked under the bird. So maybe a good way to come back, and maybe a potential for the player to consider playing it.
I think possibly, and I mean, you kind of always, I think, look for the bonus card birds, and I think maybe that's why kind of a greedy start again here. Maybe that Sprague's Pipit could be something to play. I mean, I'm sort of wondering if what we might see here is just playing that Swift in the forest. I mean, there's a bunch of nectar there. Being able to grab that early is nice, and maybe something in this hand is just going to get tucked, and you get the worm, and that's just easy to get the Wagtail down if you want. So, I think not often that you see, 9 cards being kept out of 10 between the two players at the start. So this is definitely interesting, I think, for both of them.
That's true. I mean, again, in the finals, if you go for the if you go for the five birds played, 5 birds kept, and the first action is to draw a card.
I don't like
that's
that.
A power move.
I don't like that. I get the need for Mallard, but that's, I don't know. I feel like maybe it was a bit of a concern that someone starting with the Warbler in the forest is going to need the card access, and so you want to block that. But I don't know. I think if you want that mallard, I think there are ways of getting it, and yeah, you've now spent your turn drawing cards. I think for this round one with the wagtail already. You don't want to be drawing cards again. You've got so much other things to be doing with playing birds and getting food and laying eggs, of course. So yeah, that's a tricky one, and interesting to see the Kia not being picked up. I mean, going for the Finch instead. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out. But loads of nice birds are coming up in this tray. I think it's going to be tricky, and yeah, this white stalk as well is just going to keep things cycling as well. So we'll see how this plays out.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't hate the Molar deny because we haven't had the information on white stork before, and denying the card draw in the early game could be crucial for swinging the series and going into the game 3. Although now it seems really hard to come on top for game 2, especially like with the Warbler being a really good option in the forest, and white stork basically really good prey resetter in the grasslands. So
yeah, I mean, I think this might work out here, because I think if I was to try and read Submit's mind, I think probably keeping that hooded crow, that was going to be tucked under the Swift. But actually, you see that white stock go down, and I think suddenly that's being kept as an option here of I could play that, and with the Mallard going down as well, getting these extra cards to have some options to cycle through with. I think, that there feels like a very natural path here where you could take food, play the wagtail, lay eggs. You've got the food then to use the wagtail to play the crow, and then all these extra cards are going to get cycled. So yeah, it's obviously you don't want to see this grasslands. I mean, Stork is excellent, Falcon a nice bird to go alongside it, but if you've got a counter ready to go, and yeah, all this nectar coming up in the feeder as well, this is going to be interesting. I think definitely some good options here for Submit to fight back with.
For sure. I mean, the only hope that we have, I think, maybe not the only one, but the main one is that this wagtail can do a lot of work, and especially since we already have basically with one bird both in the forest and wetlands, we already have such good activations there. So for grasslands, not necessarily, but again, most of the time for teal playing as a bird, grasslands would be the last action you want to maximize effort outcome from.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a nice start for wagtail games. I mean, you always look for those strong brown powers, and we've got the Mallard with the extra cards, the Swift getting the extra food, so potentially saving turns there, not having to draw cards as much, not having to take food as much. And now, yeah, if we are going to see this crow go down, which I certainly would expect that we will see that come into the game early on here, just that extra card cycle as well, just sort of shift these birds around and find some good stuff. So yeah, we are seeing crow in the game, so a nice start here. I think anytime you can sort of add teals onto teals, you're getting some good combos. So Submit's going to be happy, and yeah, hopefully finding some good options maybe to build something out here.
Yeah, now I think like with this body language and broadband consideration and Nightingale, right? So player decided to keep the Nightingale.
Yeah. What do you think of that? It feels quite aggressive to me. I mean, up against a white stalk and in a final against such a strong player, the last thing I want to do is be giving them extra food and helping them out. But at the same time, if you're confident in yourself and you think, I can fight against this, and I can make use of this food even better than they can, then it definitely does give you options. So we'll see how that goes. But a nice tray here. I think potentially that woodpecker again, as we said, with the starting hand. You want to go for bonus cards with wagtail, and that's certainly a nice one to get down in the forest and just build something out there.
For sure. I would possibly expect for the player to dig a little bit more, given that crow was not crow activation was not that great. Okay.
More bonus cards.
Extra activation from Mollard, and Bunting is there, so really nice.
Yeah, I think this is this is going okay. You're finding some good options here if you submit, and I think, like you say, you can just afford to dig here. You know, with the Crow, you're going to want extra options. With the Swift, you're going to need to tuck stuff. And I think when you're laying eggs with this sort of setup, you always want to be able to either throw a card or an egg or food and just get those extra eggs. So you're, again, saving those turns because you want to spend as many turns as possible playing birds with this kind of setup. So, yeah, this will be some good options going down. And grabbing the Honey Eater there for SLX. So what do you make of that? I mean, we saw that go down in game one. I don't think I ever really see this bird going down, and we're seeing it in both games here. So really, really interesting stuff.
Yes, I mean, that's also a statement, right? So Submit skipping 5 birds is a statement, but just picking up the Honey Eater from the tray and then playing it immediately, that's gonna tell your opponent something.
Yeah, I mean, I think it looks like what we're going to see is a bit of a combo with the Kookaburra here, so that obviously helps it a little bit, resetting the feeder. And that Kookaburra, you know, you're taking all the food that isn't nectar and then hopefully leaving some for the Honey Eater. So yeah, potentially building out a nice grasslands. And I think still this Warbler could be useful, and obviously taking food in the forest, but this is a classic kind of baseboard grasslands almost. Build things out with the white stalk, with the strong brown powers, get some food going. I think this is going to be really, really strong for SLX.
Yeah, but going back to the point of where we trying to find some hope to win the board with White Stork, a lot of end of rounds actually potentially will go towards Submits.
Yeah.
So birds in wetlands, you have to find something for Yorn right now. And with Wagtail activation, it's somewhat easy to kind of swing towards Submit.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. And already, I mean, Submit was able to sneak that first end around goal as well. I think, like you say, with the Wagtail, just these end around goals do line up, and potentially, you know, if you look at winning 3, hopefully 4 of them, you can get a lot of points that way. So that'll definitely be interesting to see. But yeah, this Grasslands is just super strong now. Already some good birds in hand. I think that Rufus Owl, you know, that's a pretty easy play if you can get some nectar. Obviously, get some rats and maybe off the Kookaburra. Maybe we'll see this Harrier go down as well. But yeah, it's just going to be all about what birds you find with the White Stork, and it's a little bit gambly. It's a little bit of a risk, but you know, he had some good draws in game one, hoping for those to continue here and find those big point wetland birds and get those bonus cards as well.
Yeah, but now I wonder, like, given the options that Zabit has in hand right now, is it possible to play both the red cockaded and ash throated?
In this round, I think.
In this round, with steel activation.
I mean, it would be super nice. You're sort of gambling maybe on that woodpecker, and that's maybe why Zabit is just sort of being patient, biding a bit of time here and hoping for a nice tray reset or a nice feeder reset, and maybe go for the reroll. So, great egret. That's exactly what you want to see for the nice big point wetland play. So, yeah, very, very nice find there for SLX. But yeah, I mean, sort of good points to the chat. It's difficult to plan, I think, when the feeder and the tray are being reset every single time by your opponent. How do you sort of work around that? It's not easy at all. But Dunnock, okay, another teal counter here to this grassland. So, do you think there's still time? Would you look to get that down this round? I mean, that certainly feels like a good way of getting some eggs in this game.
Sure. I think though the pickup of Common Swift is more telling.
Well, it's a good synergy with this forest already. I mean, with the woodpecker and the swift, and even this flycatcher now that's been picked up. I mean, maybe that's not quite so good with the woodpecker, but definitely lots of worms going around. So, I think some good options, and certainly lots of these cavity nests as well. So even if we don't see flycatcher go down immediately, I think at some point in this game that's going to be a huge play to go down.
Yeah, the only thing certain for me is that Submit's gonna go grab some food the very last turn of the round 2, and then we can only see what he's going to play. afterwards.
Yeah, I think I'd certainly be looking at getting this Darnock down. I mean, it's already going to be, I think, 2 eggs based on the activations, and then I'd certainly be expecting my opponent to lay eggs a third time here. So I just think from SZX's perspective, I think they might be just trying to weigh up, can I sneak this end of round goal? Is it worth laying eggs now and just sort of maybe taking that gamble that something cheap is going to come up and do the double play? But I think equally, having that sort of safety net of just being able to play that owl in the forest could be good. So yeah, maybe not the draw, but I don't know, Junko. Do you go with that as well? And now you're suddenly getting 3 food. I mean, now Raven's popped up, so that would have been fun. But yeah, that's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, I don't see Zladmit's trying to pick it up, the Raven.
Well, I suppose I got the Crow. You can always pick it up with the...
I mean, yeah, right now, exactly right now, as an activation. Yeah, I still think that we activate the food.
I think you got to take food here, yeah.
Yeah, so there is a potential that we pick it up with the Crow activation. So Crow picking up Raven.
Yeah, I think so. I think you got to go for that. So, not quite what you want on the
that's
the reroll, but it's still 1. It's it's better than nothing, I suppose.
Yes, and we figured out the food. Now we have to figure out what to discard.
Yeah.
I would probably think of Nightingale or Great Crested Flycatcher at this point.
Not sure I like the skip there. I think I agree. Flycatcher probably is the one that would go. I mean, I think maybe they're sort of keeping hold of this Nightingale just maybe in hope of trying to get something for the Birdbander, because maybe that's a bit of a struggle at the moment. But I do wonder if we might see this Raven being picked up just as a way of being able to use his grasslands a little bit better. And
interestingly enough, sorry to interrupt.
Go for it.
Yeah, it's just Yorn completely ignored the end of round 2.
Well, I think it's a tricky one because, do you really want to play something like Northern Harrier just to hit it and, get a few points? I mean, I would certainly be expecting my opponent in this position with the teal power being ready to sort of be flexible and react and just play something there anyway. So, you're only qualifying. I think that's fine. I mean, getting the Junko down here is really good for tempo, and just, capping off this grasslands in round 2 is very, very appealing. So, yeah, no real question then. It does look like Raven is being thought about here, being considered. I mean, I'd certainly look to go for it here. I think it's going to help so much get extra nectar and, play some extra birds and maybe clear out off this Dunnock. I think that could be, potentially something that they'll need to look at doing. But definitely going with the Dunnock here. I think you've got to do that and get some extra eggs. I think the double counter here, this is going to be key because it's a very, very powerful grasslands. It's very scary, so if you can leech 2 points off each time, that definitely goes a long way.
Yes, sure. I think that maybe I like the Raven pickup a little bit less, considering how much good options in the grasslands we already had. So with Raven being picked up, so we kind of assume that it's gonna be played. But then what are the 2 birds that's gonna fill up the grasslands for Zladmit?
Yeah, it's a good point because there are already, as you say, some real good ones. I mean, we've got the bonus card play, the Bunting, you've got the Swift that you might want to play with the extra teal power, that Flycatcher for all the eggs, but as you say, you're sort of at that point running out of space. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting decision, I think, and maybe a little bit of a tricky one. But what do you make of that? So SLX picking up the Grey Lag Goose, I mean, it does hit both of these last 200 rounds, so do you think maybe looking at that, maybe just taking the safe play so that you at least have something to play with the Egret? I mean, it's definitely interesting to see that picked up over the Great Horned Owl because that's such a nice bird.
I think that I don't hate it. I really like it. I mean, again, so the biggest weakness for now for Yorn is like the end of round scoring. And since Great Lag Goose just kind of boosted so hard, it's I really like the pickup. Oh my god!
Kakapo as well. Lots of nice birds coming up here. This Stork is, I think, doing SLX a whole world of help, because there's so many situations, so many games where you can just struggle and not get good stuff, and you're just laying eggs and resetting the tray and just sort of praying and hoping. But yeah, some nice options, and certainly we're going to see some big plays, some bonus card plays as well. And like you say, trying to hit these end of rounds, I think it is going to be key, and trying to at least squeeze some points out. Maybe that's where this goose is going to come in. And yeah, as the chat says, easy to play with those Junko seeds where maybe some of the other birds being picked up weren't. So yeah, big plays, very, very nice. And likewise, I think for Submit, I think you're going to have to fight fire with fire here and just try and push your opponent hard on the end of round goals, score as many points with the birds that you're playing, and really make use of these teals. So this, yeah, I think we're in for an interesting one here.
Yeah, and again, like, I cannot help but notice how much pace the players are picking up. It's a sign maybe that they're so certain about what they're gonna do. Also, maybe this sign of experience, given that like we are in the finals, but we can still kind of analyze the game and make great decisions on the fly without hesitating. And potentially, again, a big thing in the mental game, when your opponent is playing fast, you can sometimes think, okay, so they're like that good, and it's like everything is working out for them, so it's gonna be hard being the opponent in that situation. Though I think both of the players right now, since they're both playing pretty fast, mental game is level here.
Yeah, we've got two very, very strong players. I mean, these guys both know what they're doing. They got to the final. It's been a long slog in this tournament. So, yeah, I think certainly for the most part, I think certainly from SLX's perspective, you just lay eggs. You sort of use that stalk and just reset that tray and see what comes up. I think Zubmit's going to have a little bit of a harder time. I think generally with the teals, it is a little bit more thinky at times, and you are going to have to consider the order of what you're playing and sort of where. I think eggs is going to be key to sort of manage that space on the Dunnock and make sure you've got enough to play birds. And like you say, just working out what goes down in this grasslands, because there's so many good options. Do you want to play the bonus card birds now, so you at least have an idea of what you're working towards? I think certainly that'll be on his mind. But we do see a bonus play for SLX. Not a great one, bird feeder, but at least got enough birds, I think, here to be able to hit that and score some points.
Yeah, it's kind of frustrating to pick up those bonus cards which are not necessarily the good ones. But yeah, we can still manage to go for the lower bound on bird feeder and scores extra 3 points. And Kakapo, I guess, like those bet points, like bet point scoring bonus cards. If we have Kakapo in hand, that means Kakapo cannot pull them. So there is a better chance of Kakapo pulling the good ones.
Yeah, I mean, you'd always hope to either not pull them or have your opponent pull them. But yeah, certainly, at least a relief knowing that you're not going to see those come up later in the game. And I think it certainly seems like, from SLX perspective, going heavy on this end around, I think potentially there is a world here in which we do see this double play in the wetlands and just catching, maybe Submit out a little bit here, because I think some of these extra turns, really being spent taking food, getting a lot of worms. So it will be interesting to see if that Swift is going to go down or just use those worms for playing other birds. Certainly plenty of options available. So yeah, this could be closer than we expected on this end around. And that last one, I mean, the beaks pointing left is, yeah, always hard to plan around. So see what comes up. But oh, there's the other Raven. Well, don't think you're going to go down, but yeah, keep that for the style points.
Yeah, players are also level in the Ravens count here.
Yeah, maybe they'll just both keep hold just for the power move. But we are seeing this Swift go down, so it's a full-on teal fest. I mean, we've got 8 birds down and half of them are teal powers, so going hard on those. And yeah, definitely, as I say, some nice other options in hand. I think we'd definitely be seeing some bonus card come out. Definitely be seeing the flycatcher at some point. just to help get the extra eggs coming through. But there's the double play, egret into goose. So yeah, puts a strong position. I think not going to be caught here on this end around. I think Submit, maybe caught napping there a little bit. Maybe didn't see that coming, but yeah, that's going to be a frustrating one because you never like to be giving away points like that at this stage of the game.
Although I don't think there was an option to kind of contest that. So we have a reed warbler being like submit, but not a single bird in the hand.
No, I mean
ghosts and wetlands.
Yeah, so. In theory they could use the crow and pick up the shoveler and then double play. Shoveler. That might be something they look at doing, but I don't know. That kind of feels not great. I think there are some other better options in hand, but they might be tempted to do that. It might be something they want to go for, but yeah, I think at this point you've got the big plays in hand. You want to try and use those.
Although I think again it helps tremendously. So shoveler by itself at 7 points. It kind of helps make a draw for the third end of round, but then you have to activate wetlands at least once, and it's one extra card.
Yeah, and it does point left, so maybe.
Oh yeah,
maybe that might be tempting, but I don't know. This is tricky. I think at this stage of the game, I'm hoping to hit Birdbander. I think this has really been quite unfortunate. Only really got 2 birds down and none in hand. You really got to be scoring off that bonus card, so I'd certainly be hoping to find others, but maybe use the crow. You can always, looks like 4 tucks is going to be what they could potentially max out here, so I think you see what you get, and if shoveler is that last option to go with, certainly something to consider. But yeah, difficult decisions. What do you sacrifice here? Do you skip some tucks? Do you just go all in? I mean, this is tricky because there's too many good birds in this hand.
I think I would maybe go 3 and tuck the red cockaded as well with those like scissor-tailed, raven and red cockaded, and go for 2 from the deck and maybe shoveler if we don't find anything better, and go for the double play with the shoveler still. At this point in the game, I don't think we hope to score for Birdbander, so possibly we want to play our Ash-Throated for more eggs and our Painted Bunting for the extra bonus cards to find something better than Birdbander at this board. It's hard because also maybe we kind of hope for. If we hope for the good bonus card, then maybe red cockaded is going to be kept to, again, draw in one extra bonus that potentially helps. So
yeah, I mean, I think this is definitely a tricky spot, and I'm not at all surprised to see Submit taking a bit of time thinking there, but it looks like he's only gone and done 2, and Lapwing's come up, so that... I don't know, I might have been tempted to double play into that, but I suppose you're not going to be able to keep the nectar, so it looks like shoveler is going to go down, and definitely I say a nice play, and still a few extra webs of that common swift, so do you get the tie there on the end of round, come into the final one, and there is a very nice looking Rybill that I think you've definitely got to go and pick up, so that's going to be an easy play.
I don't remember what was the other bonus card for Submit. So
yeah, this is where you wish you'd kept track, because I could only speak for myself, but I never do. And whenever you get Rybill coming up, you always regret not remembering, not keeping track, especially where you've played multiple bonus cards. I mean, only one gone down, but yeah, maybe, I don't know, that might make those other options, say the bunting and the Webhook, but it's almost like sport for choice, too many options, too many good options, I think, for Submit to get down. So yeah, definitely tricky, but it's time to get a poll up, so I'll go and do that, but I'll throw the question to you first, Alex. Who do you think is going to win?
Okay, I hope that Submit can pull this, especially since again he had to work against the White Stork and the Grassland Engine, the early White Stork. So all the steel counters are really nice, and you always want to see that even in the most hopeless situations you can pull it. Though. And also again for game 3, so obviously basically I'm rooting for Submit here.
Yeah, I think anyone always wants to see the game 3, so no bias, no question of anything like that. But yeah, we do want to see a good final, of course. But yeah, I mean, I think we're just getting a little bit of a flash at the player scores, and it does look like SLX is pretty comfortably ahead, got an extra turn as well, got the nice plays in hand. So yeah, I think even, you're probably going to play that Kakapo. Maybe you don't even need another play. You just lay eggs and sort of run those grasslands. But yeah, could be coming down to these bonus cards, because we saw in that game 1 the bonus cards, coming up nice for one player and not so nice for the other late in the game. And yeah, depending on how many of these go down, this could make things interesting here.
Oh my God,
Chetty's Warbler. Are we going to see it? Goose and Warbler to win this end of round. That would be something else, I think. That would be something.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think Kakapo is going to be played, and it's really hard to imagine Cetis at this point. Are we overflowing on X? I don't think so.
No, so I think probably
22, 29, and 2 turns, so no.
I think, as long as you're playing 2 birds, you're fine. But so been going food a second time, so I don't know about this. I don't know if this food is needed. I felt like they had quite a lot already, but maybe, I don't know if we're going to see potentially, Bunting and Flycatcher go down. But you can only now, you're sort of forcing yourself to only be able to play 1 bird and then obviously 1 more with the Wagtail. So again, it's going to be more difficult decisions coming through here. And maybe, as I say, these bonus card gambles, but the bird bander, I feel like it's really not often you see that missed. But
Oriole pickup.
Yeah, Oriole. So okay, not going with the Chetties, but yeah, that's a nice one to get. Certainly playable.
That's a tiny bit better, right?
Yeah, just a little bit. And obviously the Star Nest, if you're looking at 4 bonus cards with a Kakapo, definitely give yourself a good chance of finding something nice. So
is it actually worth playing Oriole over Lane X? Have we already maximized the mechanical?
Yeah, I think it is worth playing, because you are giving potentially a couple of points away with these teal powers. So it's I think even aside from anything else, it's worth it for the points, and it might help. I can't remember where we're at on this end of round card, but it might help for that as well. Just obviously pointing to the left. So yeah, I think you've got to play. I think Kakapo's, I don't know. I suppose this is the point of the game where you think, do I take the gamble? The safe 9 points of the Oriole, or the gamble of the 4 points plus a bonus card. I know it hits the bird feeder as well. I think that's maybe what SLX is just having a little think about here, because something's got to go down. You've got to play a bird this turn. But I guess it's just maybe thinking about that nectar as well. Maybe trying to be ready to put the Raven in the wetlands if you need to swing the nectar back in your favour could be something to think about. So lots of little decisions, I think, always in these end games that it's worth being aware of. And certainly, saving the nectar, I think, is smart here. Just being ready to react.
Yeah, though it's not possible to win the nectar in the forest with the Oriole, and keeping the nectar for the potential.
I think it would be for the wetlands. It would be just in case, Puffing goes down and swings the nectar, and then you can play your Raven and sort of swing it back. That's sort of, I think, the situation that you're preparing yourself for, and I think that's sensible. But
that's reasonable.
Oh, we are actually going to see it go down. That's Interesting. Yeah, I think that's definitely just, I'd say, really, I guess, expecting. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, certainly now, if you're Submit, you look at that and you think, all right, I'm not going to play my Riot bill. I think you play the other bonus birds instead, but or maybe even this flycatcher. But oh no, they are going Riot bill.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah.
I mean, I will admit I didn't see what the other bonus card was on the punting, so maybe they know it's a nice one. Maybe they can remember the starting one. But okay, we are seeing Rybill into the game, and yeah, we'll see what this bonus card's going to be. Ooh, okay,
so
not
prayer
great.
manager.
Yeah, or backyard birder, both 3 points, but not great. So only 3. I think probably he needed a little bit more off that, especially losing the last end of round goal as well. So still got a Kakabo bonus to come through. We're going to find out what that is going to be. Is it a better find? Oh wow!
Oh,
okay. I mean,
that hurts.
That's going to sting. I think watching back for Submit, that's a when it rains it pours moment. Indeed. So yeah, I think if the game wasn't already decided before that pickup, I think certainly is going to be now. So yeah, big lead I think for SLX, and doubling the bonus points off that Rheumatologist, very nice. So obviously with the grasslands, plenty of eggs as well. Yeah, I think this is just going to be a little bit too much to be caught here, even with a few nectar points. And there we go. Big scores for both players, 134, 117, but is a win for SLX in 2 games. And that is the final finish off, winning in 2 games. Champion of the Raso Lark Riot. And 2 good games. 2 good games.
Yeah.
I think both players having good birds, but kind of using them effectively, and that's kind of what we hope and what we expect and what we want to see in these finals. So definitely, yeah, exhibition Wingspan, very, very nice to see. So yeah, Submit just having a little look at that Rheumatologist. I think it's probably good that it didn't matter. I think if the margin of victory was maybe 5 or 6 points, and then I go over and see my opponent found a 10-point Rheumatologist, I'd be a little bit annoyed. But yeah, I think that's kind of just the cherry on top of the cake, more than anything else. And yeah, I think chat's right. Grassland isn't dead. Grassland isn't dead. Very nice.
I mean, Grassland is a dead, but asterisk white.
When you've got white
stork in the
stork.
starter hands.
Yeah, but to be fair, I mean, it was a nice build up, nice tempo. I think the honey to kookaburra combination was strong, and yeah, very, very wise to sort of go into that one. But I mean, it was a nice fight. I think really good teal usage. I think for Submit in that game too as well. Wagtail always strong and good counters. Don't often see Hooded Crow played, so I think this is a good use case for it. Definitely nice to see. And yeah, Dunnock as well. Good timing, getting those counters, and maybe just a little bit of bad luck on the bonus cards. I mean, Pro Manager, not a good pickup, and obviously missing Bird Bander is a shame. So, all right, I think yeah, we're gonna see. Hold on, we're gonna see if maybe we can get one or both players.
Yep.
Onto the call. So let's take off mute. We'll see if this is going to work. Hopefully you can hear us. SLX.
Yeah.
Congratulations, first of all. Winning in 2 games. 2 very strong games, I think, from both players. Very fun to see. And yeah, if we can hear your thoughts, it would be good.
So he let us know that he's gonna try to connect the microphone. So we're gonna give it some time.
Always fun trying to work out technology on the fly, eh? But
yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. If we can't, it's fine.
If we can't, yeah. So if we can't, we will just ask to maybe write down the thoughts, and by the time they're there, we can say it out loud for the viewers.
Absolutely.
But we're gonna give it a minute and see if Jörn is able to speak. Okay, so seems like
I think that's
no
a no.
microphone for Jörn. Yeah,
I think that's a no, but that's fine. Not a problem. So, all right, I think.
So we assume that Jörn is gonna is hearing us. So if you're willing to share your thoughts in a text form, feel free to do so. And by the time we are doing other things, then we can just say it out loud. Or I believe, as we done that before, we're just gonna post.
Yeah, we can always post it in a comment or in a chat somewhere. I think that would work as well. So, but there we go. Good showing, good final, good couple of games. Enjoyable to watch. Congratulations, of course, again to SLX on the win in this Raso Lark Riot final. And thank you very much, Alex, for joining me on the commentary. Good to watch this game and talk through with you as always. Thank you as well to Scared of Birds for Game 1. Thank you everyone at home for watching along. Hopefully you enjoyed. And we hope to see you again very, very soon for another tournament final.
Yep.